had never been the kind of man to harbor jealousy or try to control my wife's decisions. Emily was an independent woman, and I respected that deeply. But when she told me she was heading to a party hosted by her old college friend, Rachel, a sharp pang of discomfort twisted in my chest. This wasn't just any casual gathering. Rachel's parties were notorious, infamous really, known for drawing people from a time long before Emily and I had built our life together. I could almost feel it. Alcohol flowing freely, inhibitions dissolving under the thumping beat of loud music. I'd witnessed those nights before, and I didn't want to relive them. With a calm voice, I said, "I'm not comfortable with you going alone to this. I know what Rachel's parties are like." Emily sighed, annoyance flickering in her eyes. "Come on, David. It's just a few drinks with old friends. You're making a mountain out of a molehill." Her words stung, but not because I doubted her loyalty. It was the weight of my own instincts that felt heavy, instincts that had proven accurate before. 3 years ago, Emily had attended an after-party for a colleague's wedding while I was bedridden with a fever. She came back the next morning, but something had shifted. Her eyes avoided mine, her words felt distant, hollow. It was as though she had crossed into a world I couldn't reach, and though she never confessed to anything, the change in her was undeniable. Since then, I had learned to trust her again, but I relied more on my gut feeling than her reassurances. When she brushed off my concerns this time, I didn't push the issue. Instead, I said quietly, "If you feel you need to go, then go. But don't expect things to stay the same when you come back." She laughed lightly, as if I were joking, and walked out the door. That night, I didn't call her, didn't pace the house in anxiety. I simply shut off calm, unnervingly so. Emily slipped through the door at 3:52 a.m., trying to move quietly, the hinges of the door creaking softly under her touch. Her hair was tangled, mascara smudged, her heels dangling from one hand. "You're still awake?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. I didn't respond. I just fixed my gaze on the shadowed hallway, my eyes unblinking. She shifted uncomfortably, her tone forced to sound casual. "It was fun. A bit crazy, but nothing major." I nodded slowly but said nothing. She climbed into bed beside me, and I stayed upright, staring into the darkness. The air between us felt thick, charged with something unspoken, but I didn't address it. I let it linger, unacknowledged, untouched. The next morning, I went for a run, the cold air slicing through my thoughts, sharpening my perspective. When I returned, Emily was sitting at the kitchen counter, her hands wrapped around a mug of coffee, her posture tense. "Are you upset, David?" she asked, her voice hesitant. I shrugged, not upset, just reflecting. My calm unnerved her more than any argument could. She hovered near me all day, her presence like a faint shadow, always watching, always waiting. Every attempt at conversation was met with a polite but distant reply, courteous yet cold. Around midday, I glanced at my phone. There was a text from an unknown number. The message was simple but devastating. "Saw your wife at Rachel's last night. She was cozy with some guy. Thought you might want to know. Attached was a photo." My pulse quickened as I saw it. Emily, sitting outside by a fire pit, her legs draped over another man's lap. Her smile was radiant, and his hand was resting on her thigh. It wasn't concrete evidence of betrayal, but it was enough to crack something deep within me. I walked to the kitchen and held up the phone, the image glowing in front of her. She paled. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Then, a rush of stammered excuses. "It's not what you think. I was just drunk." I raised my hand, stopping her before she could continue. "I don't need justifications. I told you how I felt. You chose to go." Her eyes welled up with tears. "David, please." She began, but I cut her off. "I'm not leaving," I said quietly. "But I'm not seeing you the same way anymore." My words were soft, but they hit harder than any shouting ever could. There was no anger, no slamming of doors, no storming away. Just a quiet resignation, as I let her stew in the consequences of her choices. Over the next week, she tried to bridge the growing distance between us. She cooked elaborate meals, checked in with me constantly, offered small gestures of regret. But there was never an apology, not the kind I needed. I stayed present but kept her at arm's length, my warmth locked away behind an invisible wall. Then one night she cracked. Tears streaked her cheeks as she whispered, "I should have taken you seriously. I thought it was just a harmless night out. I didn't realize I'd lose the part of you that believed in me." I met her eyes briefly, but then looked away. "You haven't lost me," I said quietly, my voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't know if I'll ever believe in you the same way again."